So I know you folks just recently moved here, but what has it been like getting to meet people? Like, what does it look like actually trying to plug into, communities and kind of establish these networks?
That's a really good question, and something that I definitely put a emphasis on when I moved here. I'm personally not somebody who puts themselves out there all that much in terms of networking and community driven events, but I knew moving down here that that was something that I'd have to do in order to build a life down here, build friendships, relationships, and I think the best thing that you can possibly do is might seem pretty obvious, but get involved in the things that you love. So personally for me, I love Pilates. So the first thing probably the first day I moved down here, if not the second, I started going to Pilates classes. I did some research beforehand on Instagram and mainly Instagram, a little bit on TikTok. But I just started going to Pilates classes, and little by little, I started to meet people and learn that there are a ton of wellness events down here. It's such a community in terms of wellness in general and different outdoor activities that they have. So I started plugging into those. Get involved in what you love. If you love golf, I mean, you don't just have to go to, a golf course and do your regular style golf. I mean, there's just communities purposely around golf. For example, I'm in a group on WhatsApp and it's just moms who play golf. I'm a mom. And it's just such a niche type of group to be in, but there's things like that everywhere here. So you will find your tribe.
And that's definitely something that I do like to hear then. I totally agree with the kind of the fitness emphasis that they have here. Like, you almost kind of get dragged along whether you want to or not.
Yeah,
I feel like in some ways.
For sure.
I feel like it's very difficult to not be in good shape here in the area.
Yes, I think because it's hot pretty much all year round, and that means, less jackets, less clothes in general, and you do start to feel like, okay, well, I want to look good and I want to feel good. And I do love that part of Florida, and I think that's something that attracted us back to here in general, is just knowing that we're going to be living a lifestyle that will allow us the freedoms to be outside and keep up with ourselves in a way that feels good.
Yep, absolutely. So luckily for us, you've lived here before. I mean, you've been right there in Miami, kind of front row seat to hurricanes and all that as they do come in. A lot of people, I know this is going to surprise you, a lot of people are kind of worried about hurricanes when they're just thinking about moving here. So, have you gone through any of these hurricanes before?
So I think that's very fair to feel that way, and something that I do say during hurricane season when I'm up in New Jersey. I'll be like, well, we might have snow, but we don't have this crazy stuff going on. And, the wildlife down here can be a little crazy compared to New Jersey. I'm used to maybe the occasional bear, if ever, but what is it? Deer, squirrels, rabbits, where it's down here. It's like, this is crazy wildlife. I see birds as tall as me walking around sometimes in certain areas. But in terms of hurricanes themselves, I have not lived through a scary one. I hope I don't have to live through a scary one.
Okay, but hold on, scary one. I feel like that's a big caveat. So what's a scary one and what's not scary one?
I just think it depends on the category. I think we have windows and doors at our place that are category 4 or 5 hurricane proof now, and I'm like, I don't want to live through that. That sounds scary to me. And I think last year, from what I remember and what I heard, there was a pretty bad one, or there was just a bad hurricane season last year. I mean, they were putting numbers on the cows and the horses. God forbid they lost them. But I mean, we also just got 30 inches of snow in New Jersey, and you can't leave your house, So I think you gotta pick and choose. You're gonna come into one thing, if not the other. And then in Jersey, even, okay, well, they clear off the snow. But then the roads are so icy. So there's kind of that part, even after snow, where you're still trailing along here.
Right.
But the hurricane, when it's done, it's pretty much you're done. You know what I mean? And you kind of, once you regroup, like you can get back to it for the most part. So yeah, I haven't lived through what would, I guess, somebody, a category 4 or 5 down here. I don't even know the last time there was one. There may not have been in a long time, but I've been here in the summer, it rains and then it's sunny again in 15 minutes. A lot of people spend a lot of time on boats in the summertime just to get on the water and get that fresh breeze. I know people are afraid of the heat here in the summertime. So there's ways to avoid all of that. And you got to pick and choose. Anywhere you live in this country, for the most part, you're going to run into something.
Yeah, and I mean that's really important because a lot of people, they have this fantasy in their heads that I can go to this area and it's going to be absolutely perfect and there's no natural disasters, but it's like you're kind of just picking your natural disaster.
Right.
At least here, there's like a season in which it's going to happen, and even more rare, you get like a week's worth of heads up. If it's coming. You don't get that with, I don't know, earthquakes or any of these other things.
So our hurricane prevention is when we hear it a week ahead of time, we'll probably go back to New Jersey for a couple days. We'll just pack up and go home. Well, go home, but
Yeah, so you guys aren't going to be the ones that are like sheltering down. We have to
I doubt it.
Governor has to come personally to get you out of there.
No, I mean, I guess in that sense, we are lucky and fortunate to, go up to family in New Jersey, but probably not gonna stay for the not gonna hunker down with everybody else. I'm probably gonna jump ship.
That's fair. That is fair. That is fair. So for you guys then, do you remember like hurricane protocol and all that? Like what is it, how does preparing for a hurricane look like? So I think for a lot of people that's just a foreign concept.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I know from what I hear too, like let's say you're going to buy a house, right? You would definitely want to invest into some category 4 or 5, whatever the strongest window shield that they have is. They're expensive, but they are worth it. And it'll make you feel a lot safer. From what I know with hurricane prevention too, you want to get yourself into, so they don't have basements here in Florida for the most part. So you might think, well, I'm just going to go into the basement. If anything happens on the main floor, I'm going to avoid that. But again, there's not a lot of basement housing situations here in that sense. So closets, people go into the closet a lot of times and they kind of shut themselves in. I've even heard people going into the bathrooms, but I've heard, even from what I've seen, like, you remember that hurricane that Jamaica had not too long ago?
Right.
I was just on TikTok, like, I was completely invested. And a lot of people who are there were telling people, hey, get into the closets. That's your best place to be. So invest into some windows, some good windows, and get in the closet.
Cannot emphasize that enough.
Yeah. I mean, and just, it'll blow over.
Now, for people who have just gotten here then, what would you say are like 3 big things where they have to go do it to fully move into the area? What are the 3 things you'd recommend that they go and do?
I mean, I want to steer away from the obvious ones, which would be the beaches or Disney World or, even, I don't know. I want to steer away from the obvious ones. So, a couple things, if you're moving into this area that I would recommend, you have to go to the West Palm Beach GreenMarket at least once. It's insane. I mean, it's across a few different blocks and there's hundreds of vendors there. I think about 15,000 people show up, every Saturday between 8:30 and 1:30. So in the, course of 5 hours, that many people are walking through this type of market, but it's so fun. The vendors are great and you really get a sense of the community because a lot of those vendors are small business owners with brick and mortars, with storefronts. So a lot of times I have found a business that I love at the market and then I actually go and support them in person at their actual standing location. So again, great way to plug into the community there, see what's out there. I think this is like a little bit of a niche one, but what I love about living in this area is we have access to the Bahamas. You have access to other islands. So you can actually take a ferry. I don't remember the name of the company. I mean, you could Google it. And you could take a ferry over the Bahamas. That's something definitely different to do, but very accessible to our area. I believe the ferry is in Fort Lauderdale. But I mean, it's like 35, 40 minutes from here.
Yeah. how long does it take for one to get to the Bahamas? Because on the map, that looks like a quick hop, skip away, but, it might take a lot longer than that. So what does that look like?
I mean, it's a hop and a skip. When you get on the ferry, I think it's about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's not
You
bad
do
at
need
all.
your passport, which, I mean, it is a different country, but just so you know, you definitely need your passport. I think the ferry ride is like $200. So that's something to do. And you could stay for the weekend. And then to get acclimated to the area, I mean, again, I guess also you could take a ride down to the Keys. That's just something you have to do when you live down in Florida and when you live here, because you have access to these things and it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely huge because, I mean, another thing too, I've talked to some people and they're like, I really don't like the ocean or anything. It's like, I
don't know.
I think you're in a bad spot.
Yeah. Well, so I just went to Jupiter Farms the other day for the first time. Have you heard of Jupiter Farms?
What's that?
So we're in Jupiter now, right? Yeah. So there's an area of Jupiter called Jupiter Farms, and it is an equestrian epicenter. No, but a lot of people who have horses live out there, and a girl that I know, she owns a house over there and she rescues all these different types of animals, goats, alpacas, chickens, you name it. She has a farm, but essentially a lot of these people who live in Jupiter Farms have farms or, places for their horses to get trained at. So even if you don't love the beach, there's that. There's definitely a huge equestrian community here, and it's so sweet. It's so nice.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you just want to, like, intuitively think, like, there's a big equestrian community
Huge.
here,
And in Wellington, too. I mean, I met a woman at the beach last weekend who trains her horses with Olympian, equestrian, people all the time. So I'm like, really? She's like, oh, yeah, it's such a big thing out here. And I'm like, oh, I would have never known because it's not my thing,
Yeah. But, the thing is, like, it's... not just for like this country, it's like international. You get like you said, like the Olympian folks, but you get people coming in from all over the world to like train here and like competitions and all that.
Yes.
And it's just,
it's incredible.
It's really the climate.
It's the climate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's what they're showing up for, and it's predictable, unless you're looking June to November. But other than that, pretty predictable.
Pretty much. Yeah. You know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? You definitely know you're not going to get maybe a ton of season changes, but you're going to definitely get a lot of outdoor time. So there's that.
Yep, absolutely. Now, what is something you can get in Palm Beach County that you can't get anywhere else?
Anywhere else in Florida or just in general?
We'll say, anywhere else in general.
Okay. I would have to say Palm Beach Island, which is obvious because it's in Palm Beach County, but it is its own vibe. It is so amazing over on Palm Beach Island. So historically, it's known to be one of the wealthiest zip codes in the country, if not maybe even arguably the world, one of the wealthiest zip codes. But you don't need to be a mega millionaire to have a good time in Palm Beach Island. So yesterday, for example, I walked over to the beach with my son and my dog. I stopped at Field of Greens. I got a chicken Caesar wrap, a matcha latte, and I took a couple books, and we just walked over to a public portion of the beach on Palm Beach Island, and we sat down, read a couple books, enjoyed the beach, and it honestly felt like I was in Orange County, California, if you've ever been. It was so quiet, and people were on their little surfboards. I mean, it wasn't surfing weather, but they were just out there relaxing. And it's a very unique portion of Palm Beach County. And you don't have to have a ton of money to have a good time. And they also have these things called villas on Palm Beach Island. So villas kind of are off the main roads, and they're in between a lot of retail spaces, and behind the retail spaces are even more retail spaces, and that's what the villas are. So you almost feel like you're in Europe. So it's like I was at the beach and I kind of felt like I was in Newport, California. And then I go over to the villas sometimes, and I'll eat at different restaurants, or I'll just kind of window shop because Worth Ave is very expensive shopping. But, off the beaten path, you will get a little feel of Europe in the middle of Florida, and it's so nice.